Hi, my name is Andrea. This is my second ever YouTube makeup tutorial video, and today I'm going to be going over the Oden's Eye palette, the Erd palette. This is part of their recent collection. There was a series of 4 palettes, including these small palettes, 3 small palettes and 1 bigger palette, 3 highlighters. And also, if you purchased a certain amount, you got a free silk scarf. You got to choose the color, and this is what I chose, and I'll show it later when I let my hair down. After my first video, there were a few things that I learned. It didn't really remedy the situation of the junk in the background, but I'm at my vanity space still. What I figured out the last time was that I had done my foundation in advance, and what I realized is that I wanted to do my blush too. So I have done my blush and I have done my highlighter. There's not much highlighter, and I did my eyebrows, and all I use is just a brow gel. I just got a tinted brown brow gel. I have dark brows to begin with, so I usually used a clear, kind of decided that I wanted just a little extra oomph of a colored or tinted brow gel, so I have a dark brown brow gel on to match my dark brown hair and my dark brown eyebrows. So the palette that I'm going to be featuring today is going to be the Oden's Eye Erd palette. However, as I mentioned, this is a series of 4 palettes, and the series or the collection is called the Norns collection. So Oden's Eye is it's a Swedish brand, and they base their packaging, their theme is Norse mythology, and I find that very interesting. I loved mythology as a kid. Primarily in school, I learned about Greek and Roman mythology, but there's always these intersects, and I really find the idea of mythology fascinating. So the Norns are 3 sisters, and here's the Norns palette, their big palette. The Norns are 3 sisters. They represent the past, the future, and the present, and they are similar I think, in Greek and Roman mythology to the Fates, as I understand it. I pulled it out of the sleeve, and here is the outside of the packaging of the palette. And one thing I will say about Oden's Eye, one of the appeals for me is the packaging. I love makeup is an experience for me, so I love getting a package in the mail, and I love when you are unboxing it and everything is beautiful. I ordered all 4 palettes and a lipstick and a highlighter, and I opened them all at different times because it was an experience for me, and I wanted it to be a prolonged experience. It was a big order. It's an expensive order that I had saved up for, so I wanted it to be an experience. I kind of took my time about opening things and looked at each item and kind of swatched it. So this is the big Norns palette. I will say that 2 years ago, maybe even 3 years ago, I would not have known what to do with a color story like that. But today, when I got it, well, not when I got it today, but when I did get it in the mail, it was extremely exciting for me. It was very inspiring. I like when I get a color story that is kind of unexpected and that it's not completely obvious what you should do with it, because it helps to spark my creativity. And I'm not a very creative person, so the fact that I've been able to get to this point in makeup where I could look at a color story like that and see inspiration, that's kind of a big deal to me. I also got the 3 palettes. I showed you the Erd palette, but I will show you the Verdandi palette. The Erd sister, she represents the past. The Verdandi sister represents the present. And this is Skuld. I do not purport to know how to pronounce things in Swedish or Norse, but from what I've seen, this is the Skuld palette, and I learned that from Angelica Nyqvist, who is Swedish. So this is the Skuld palette. They're all beautiful. I'm not going to show them all. I will show that I had previously in my collection one of the blushers from Oden's Eye. That's what I used today, and this is in Sweet Tulip. And then I did get one of their new highlighters, and this is in the Veil of Future. And what's special about these highlighters, which are limited edition, is that you kind of see this marbled effect in the pan. And that marbled effect is going to stay with the highlighter even as you use it. It's not going to blur together, not very much anyway, because when they were poured into these pans, they were actually poured in this marbled layout and pressed into this marble layout, and so that stays with them. There's a video on Oden's Eye's website where you can see these crevices and stuff where the product was poured in, and so there were 3 in the collection. I only have the one, and that's how they were poured in, so that's how they should stay. So let's take a look at the Verdandi palette. And as I said, this is the Sister of the Past, and I think it's a really very fitting color story for that, because there is something a little bit ancient about this. It's a very natural looking kind of color story. These mossy greens and brown and kind of earthy tones. And I knew right away that this would be my favorite palette in the collection, and it is. And that's a tough call, because this is a very beautiful collection and every color story is special. But this is my favorite. I haven't used it yet. I've had the collection for almost a week now, and I kind of saved it to be able to do this video, so I'm excited to be able to use it today. I hope that the quality of the shadow, I don't really doubt it, but I hope that the quality of the shadow lives up to my expectations. And so we'll go ahead and get started, and I'll just kind of talk as I go and try to tell you what I'm using for brushes and things like that. So I'm going to start with this BH Cosmetics brush. It's just a fluffy, here we go, just a fluffy brush. I start almost every single one of my looks like this, and I'm going to start with this kind of minty green shade here, and it's called Memory. And I will take that back. It is not a minty green shade. I would say it's more like a celery kind of color. It's got more of an earthy tone to it than a mint green would. So I'm going to kind of start with that. And I'm going to use the little mirror in the palette and hope that that works for me so that I can keep talking to you. So I'm just going to do this across the crease to kind of start laying down a transition. And I mentioned that I enjoyed Greek and Roman mythology, that I'm interested in mythology. I am a Catholic, and some people would call me a devout Catholic. Devout Catholics would not call me a devout Catholic. I don't think that I am, although I strive to be. And I do a little bit, I do more than just go to Mass every week. I do go to Mass every week. I do maintain the holy days, and I am raising my children in the faith. I'm married in the church. My children have been baptized in the church. So I aim to be a devout Catholic, but I would not say I'm quite there yet. And I find mythology fascinating, and I find all religions fascinating, because I think it's interesting. I think it's interesting that no matter where we come from and no matter when we come from, we have this yearning to understand the world and to understand life and to understand if there is life beyond what we're living here. I think that's something that a lot of religions have in common, and when I meet people of different religions, I do tend to focus on that, on the things that we have in common. You won't ever hear me say things like, I believe as a Catholic, or we believe as Catholics. If I'm saying it, rest assured, it's because I believe it. And I believe it to be true, and I don't think that it needs to be cushioned in language saying I believe. You don't have to believe it. I'm not asking you to believe it. I'm purporting it as true because I believe it to be true. I'm living my life that way. And so I want to be firm in my beliefs. It's important to me to be firm in my beliefs. So that's why I say those things. And I understand that not everybody does. And I'm okay with that. I think we're all really doing the best that we can. I really do believe that. And I think the world would be a better place if everybody kind of appreciated that everybody is doing the best that they can when it comes to everything, when it comes to parenting, when it comes to politics, when it comes to faith, or maybe even not practicing a faith. I think we're all just doing the best that we can. I really want to believe that. And I think we would be a better world if we could see that good in each other. So I'm going to move on now to, on that note, just a BH Cosmetics brush. I mentioned this previously that I don't have a fancy brush collection. Most of my brushes are from sets from BH Cosmetics. It's a very inexpensive way to build a brush collection. And one thing that you're looking for and they're synthetic. So one thing that I'm looking for in a brush is more the shape than the brand. I don't have any expensive brands. I'm afraid that if I ever get an expensive brush that I won't ever want to go back. And I don't know if I can keep that up. So here I am with my cheap brushes, which do the job. I'm going to move on now to this deeper mossy green shade, which is called Nostalgia. I love greens. I'm a sucker for greens. When I was growing up, I'm 39 years old. So when I was growing up, I used to get 17 magazine, and like probably a lot of women my age did here in the United States. And one thing that they would teach you about makeup was that you should not change your eyeshadow color to match your outfit. You shouldn't, if you had a certain eye color, you shouldn't wear certain colors. You should dress for your skin tone, and you should dress for your hair color, and you should dress for your eye color. And that was your color story. And that's what nature assigned to you. And that's what you should do. And so for me, I have brown hair, I have brown eyes, I have neutral skin. And so for me, you wore neutral colors, and maybe sometimes you could wear a little bit of green, or you could wear a little bit of purple, because that would help brown eyes pop. And I do like to wear browns, and I do definitely like to wear purple, and I like to wear green. But what I learned, and mind you, I'm a Latina girl growing up in California, in Bakersfield, California, in East Bakersfield, California. Every Latina girl, I shouldn't say every Latina girl, I shouldn't speak for all of us, but I know that I and a lot of my friends, we wanted to have colored eyes. You call them colored eyes, anything other than brown. It's kind of unique in Hispanic culture. So we wanted to have colored eyes. I wanted to have colored eyes. I wanted to have green eyes. And it wasn't until I thought brown eyes were boring. Most people in Bakersfield have brown eyes. So I thought that was very boring. And I still know that most people in Bakersfield still have brown eyes. But what I have learned about having brown eyes is that you can wear any color you want to, because there's actually no rules. Makeup is an art. It is for fun. It is for you. And do some things look better than others? Yes. Do I miss the mark often? Absolutely. You certainly won't see me posting pictures or doing a video where I think I look ridiculous. But what I have learned is that color is for everybody. There are no rules. You don't have to be bound by that. Some things look better than other things. That's a trial and error process, something that I'm still in the process of learning. And that green is one of my favorite colors to work with. Green can be a little bit difficult to work with. So like I'm struggling to get get this shade just right. But I can already tell that I'm going to be happy with the way it looks. A nice earthy mossy grain, that's going to look good on just about anybody. And I don't see any reason why, if I'm wearing an olive green blouse, why I shouldn't be able to wear olive green eyeshadow. There is no reason why. That's why I don't see a reason, because there is no reason why. So this brush is not as dense as I would like it to be to pick up the color that or to get the impact of the color that I want to lay down. Unfortunately, I have been a very bad girl about brushing or cleaning my brushes. So I have this one here, again, a BH Cosmetics brush. It's a little bit more dense. I have more mature eyelids. So sometimes when you're older, or when you have, some people have deep set eyes to begin with. And when you have deep set eyes, you want smaller brushes, detailed brushes to get into these creases and this corner here. And you want them to be kind of, for me, like a shade like this for this point. It's good to have the fluffy brush to lay things down, but when I'm starting to try to add some depth, I want a densely packed brush. So that's what I'm doing here. And just kind of working that in, and it's laying down beautifully. Oden's Eyes formula is fantastic. Their shimmers are some of the best that I own, and their mattes are very good as well. I have an extensive Oden's Eye collection, considering I really haven't been collecting makeup that long, but I do like indie brands. That's how I like to spend my money, and they're kind of like I don't really know, they're not so small that they're packing things in their garage, or that they're only available like on Etsy or some of these smaller brands, which I highly respect. But they're not a big brand. They're not in you know, the big stores like Sephora or Ulta yet. They may be. They and Kaleidos may be eventually, but Oden's Eye is a relatively new brand, and from their first collection, I ordered their Salmon palette, and that's when I ordered the blushes and 2 of their lipsticks. I did order from their summer collection, their 3 mini palettes and their larger palette, 16 pan palette, and then for this collection, I ordered all of the eyeshadow palettes, and they had recently released some lipsticks, and I was holding out for a bigger order. And I ordered 1 lipstick with that, which I'll show later. So I'm pretty happy with that. Again, I'm just at home. I'm using my vanity mirror now. I'm at home. I'm not going anywhere today, so I'm not gonna put too much into giving it too much more depth to make it last throughout the day. That's one of the reasons that depth is important to me. It tends to fade because of the creasing of my eye, and because of the depth of this like outer corner right here, it tends to crease if I don't build it up. And so in the morning I look a little bit like a member of Motley Crue. It's pretty intense, but then, you know, by the time I get to work after dropping off my kids, it's already kind of faded a little bit. So right now I'm going to go into this smaller detailed brush from BH Cosmetics, and I'm going to go into this dark chocolate brown shade here, which is called Past. And I'm just going to go into my outer corner, and it's a dark shade, and so I just dipped my brush in one time. So just a minute ago I was looking into my vanity mirror, because it's a big mirror and it's lighted, and it's a lot easier for me to see what I'm doing than in this mirror. And it's also how I do my makeup every day. So after one of the things that I learned from my last video, that when I look in the video, when I look at this mirror, anybody watching the video can see my double chin. I have a double chin. I don't like it. I wish I didn't. I wish I had more discipline to lose some weight, but I will say also, even if I lost weight, this would be the last thing to go because it's the first thing to appear when I start gaining weight. It's just a fact of life. I do not have a thyroid problem. I actually just had my thyroid checked recently, and so it's not that, just kind of where I gain weight and where I am in life. And it's just kind of the way things are. I feel this need to kind of call out my defects before other people do, because I guess I worry that people are gonna think that I think I'm something I'm not. And I maybe shouldn't feel the need to be, and I find self-deprecating humor to be really funny, and it is funny, but sometimes it's uncomfortable for other people. I had a friend point out to me one time, you know, we've been talking for 30 minutes and you've made fun of yourself like 5 times. And I think it's okay to make fun of yourself. I think it's okay to like not take yourself super seriously, but I also think it's okay to be confident in how you look, no matter how you look. There's certain things that you're just kind of stuck with. I'm kind of stuck with this chin. I'm kind of stuck with certain things about the way that I look, and so are you. So are all of us. This is kind of the way we are. So I think it's okay. I think it's okay to have moments of both. And today I'm having a moment where I'm being honest about the fact that I know that I have a double chin, but I'm also going to tell you I just have a double chin. And I wish I didn't, and I wish I could photograph better, and I wish a lot of things, but that's the way of life right now. That brown was very deep. It did kind of pull away a lot of the green. So I'm going to go back in with both of the greens. And I'm going to start with the fluffier brush and with the lighter celery kind of green called Memory. I'm going to start with that. Probably didn't need to add more to my brush. Yeah, I probably shouldn't have added more to my brush. And then I did it again on the other side because I wanted it to be even. And I'm going to go back with that nostalgia color, that mossy green. That one I probably did need to add more because I think I brushed most of that away. Okay. I'm happy with that. Actually, it's really pretty. I love green. I am a sucker for green. So, I am going to go in with the shimmers now. Super excited. These shimmers are going to be ridiculous. I couldn't help it. I already did swatch this, this green shade here, which is called Luxury. And it's stunning. So I'm gonna go in with that. I'm gonna use my finger, and I'm not gonna put down glitter glue. I normally would. Normally, if this were not the end of my day, if this were the morning, I would use this kind of flat brush to apply glitter glue. And I would apply it probably going up to here and down through here and all across there. And it's a clear adhesive, so even if I did it, you wouldn't be able to see, but it's clear. And I would use that and then give it a second, and then I would go in with my finger. Still, I prefer to use my finger for shimmers. And I would go in with this color here and just start pressing it onto that glue. It's gorgeous. It's a very special green. I love green, and I have a lot in my collection, and this is definitely a very special green. It's it looks more blue than yellow. So green is the product of combining blue and yellow. And this particular one, once you put it on your eyelids, it has more of a blue tone than it has a yellow tone or a gold tone. But still, it's very much a green. And I took it in farther than I wanted to because I did want to leave like that kind of inner corner to put. I wanted to try to put both of these colors. So this is a little split pan here, and it's golden. Oh, it says Glaudinier on the back of mine. I don't know what that means. Wow, I just noticed that. It says Gloden, Gloden, and I don't know if that is a typo. I wouldn't think it is, because there's a lot of effort that goes into, you know what? Let's look. Well, nothing's coming up on Google, not right off the bat. So I wonder if that was an error. I don't know. Anyway, Glaudinier is that silver shade and Time is that white shade. I think I'm going to start with the silver. I'm going to use my pinky. Start with the silver and see how that goes. Very silver. Oh, so pretty. It fades so beautifully into that green. Wow. Okay, I love that. And now I'm just going to take the white. I'm not very good at getting the inner corner highlight, but I'm going to go ahead and use that white color called Time and put it in my inner corner. Every time I do this, because I see, you know, all the YouTubers do this like inner corners. Most of them apply it with a brush. I don't know if most of them apply it with a brush. Some of them apply it with a brush, some of them apply it with their finger, but I see them do that. And so I do that. And whenever I do that and then I go out with my makeup, people are like, oh, your makeup's nice, but you have a little bit like right in here. Yeah, that was on purpose, but I guess, I don't know. Maybe it just doesn't transfer well into real life. I'm just going to take a little bit of that dark chocolate brown shade called Past and just kind of go in there again, because sometimes just to make sure that there's like no harsh line between the shimmer and the matte, so that it kind of has this like fading effect into the shimmer. Okay, so there was a little error, a little editing glitch. My husband handles the technology part of these things, and I don't know anything about all this stuff, but the camera that he's using, it records in 30-minute increments. I forgot, and I kept going, and anyway, after what you last saw, the only thing I did was say, okay, I'm happy with the way that looks. I'm gonna step off camera, do my eyeliner and my mascara and my lipstick, and come back. So here I am. I finished up. I did my eyeliner, my mascara, my lipstick. I did go back in with the darker shades and with the dark chocolate brown and the green shimmer called Luxury, and went back in. I often do that after I put my eyeliner and my mascara on, because I find that the look isn't as deep as I wanted once I put those on. So I did that. I did add my lipstick. It is from Oden's Eye. It is one of their cream bullet lipsticks, which are fairly new, and they recently released them, and I waited until I ordered the eyeshadow collection to order this as well. I only have one shade. It is the color Tulipa Kiss. I had been wearing a lip oil before, so it's a little bit shinier now than it normally would be, because I added this on top of the lip oil, and because I am a freak like that, I saved my box that it came in, because the box is beautiful. Look at that. And I also want to take my headscarf off now to show you the headscarf, which was free with my purchase. And there were 3 different ones, and I picked, this is the one that I chose. Look at that. Oh, it's beautiful. This was my first time using this palette. I'm very happy with it. I'm impressed with myself that I was able to keep my hands and my eyes off of it for almost a week in order to get a first impression when I did this video. I am extremely happy with Oden's eye. I have a good time. I've had a good time doing these 2 videos. I've done them mostly for my friends, and so my friends aren't really familiar with probably some of these brands that I'm talking about, but Oden's Eye is, I think, a fairly affordable indie brand. They have a lab in China, so they ship from China, and they're still a cruelty-free brand because, as I understand it, they're not selling in China, and so they don't have to go through the rigors of Chinese testing, which includes animal testing. So their lab is in China, but they do not sell within China. They ship out, and you can get free shipping after a certain amount. And for me, that's meant that I've placed big orders every time that I have ordered from them. But if you're interested, I think a fun thing to do would be to get maybe a friend and see if together you guys can come up with enough to order so that you can get free shipping. And then you end up getting an incredible bang for your buck. What you get from Oden's Eye, I think, is very much worth what you spend on it, especially if you are able to get free shipping. I'm very happy with the products in general. I am extremely happy with this palette. Sure enough, it is my favorite palette from this collection. It's stunning. It's right up my alley, and I have had a good time today. I really appreciate it if you've made it this far to the end. Thank you so much for watching, and maybe I'll do this again sometime. If you have watched it and you're interested in another video, please let me know. And I have a ton of makeup already that I can pull from to try this again. Thank you. Have a great day.